Okay, this is just a quick tip video. Now, as we're getting ready to put the liners and that in, or while you're waiting for parts, there's a little tool you can make. And this is mine here. And what's it do? Well, this is what we use to check the liner height protrusion. Now, it's just a dial gauge on a little bit of aluminium square that I cut and machined down. So let's have a quick look how we made it. This dial gauge, or this indicator, now this is just a cheap one off eBay. It's a digital one, and I don't use the digital ones an awful lot, but I like to use the digital if I can for filming, so you can see what I'm seeing. And sometimes when I'm chatting away under a tractor or around, it's easy for me to just read off here rather than read a micrometer or read something like that. So I just thought I'd do a quick video on this tool, and it'll help you do your job a lot better. This is homemade. I made this myself, and you don't have to spend a lot of money. This dial gauge is the most expensive part, and look, $20 to $30 on eBay. They're only Chinese, and they work. They seem to do the job, and you can get a dial one if you like it. And look, it just doesn't matter what sort of dial gauge you have on it. They'll all work, but this is not about that, the dial gauge so much. This is about making the tool. So it's a handy tool for working on anything like this. So what this started out as was a 1 inch, I believe it's 1 inch square piece of aluminium stock, and it's just alloy, nothing major. Yeah, it's just under 1 inch, so that works fine. And it's a bit of 1 inch bar. I'll give you a rough measurement of how long it is, and this is not important either. It's 3.8 inches long. If we go to 97 mil. Once again, the length just doesn't matter. Now this piece here, I've cut that out, and that's about 22 mil or 7/8. And I'll explain what I did. I just got a piece of inch aluminium square stock, solid square stock. You make it out of steel, aluminium, well, anything you like where you know you've got a nice flat edge. Then I came in here. Oh, how far did I come in there? I come in 11 mil, so you could come in there 10 mil, and you can do it with a hacksaw. I just cut down here, then cut down here, and that gave me this shoulder. So the dial gauge I had has I think it's an 8mm stem. I'll just check that for you. Yeah, 7.92. So we'll call that 8mm stem on it. So I drilled an 8mm hole in here, and I just cut it down here with a hacksaw. Then I drilled a hole for the thread. Now what size bolt you use there is entirely up to you. I've got a 5mm bolt, so I run right through the whole thing with a tapping size thread. Then I tapped it all the way through. I put a thread all the way. Then I come in the top here, I put a little piece of steel in there, a little bit of feeler gauge, and you can put anything in really, but yeah, I put something in the gap there, so that when I come down to drill the hole to give this top bit clearance so it would clamp, I didn't go right through and, the drill didn't bite in and wreck my thread. A feeler gauge will be good for that, or a piece of hacksaw blade, your old hacksaw blade you use to cut it. You can put the back of the hacksaw blade in here. You can come down through here until you touch the hacksaw blade, and you may still have to go, even if you just went in a little bit, it doesn't matter. And so you need a thread in this section, a clear piece in this section, and in my case here I had an Allen head screw, so I decided to countersink it. So what's this do and how does it work? Okay, I've got that just so it's firm. It's not too tight, and I've got it like that because when you have it on top of the block and you turn it around, sometimes I like to turn it around to see how we're going. what does it do? I'll just find something nice and thin here, just to try and demonstrate. I should be better organised, shouldn't I? But anyway, I'm not. Okay, we got this old thrust bearing. So we'll turn that on, and on the side of the engine block, is that better up there? No, you can't see much just because of the light here today. What if we go that way? Too many shadows. But anyway, what the idea of it is, on the top of your engine block, you run this along, find it the normal surface of your engine block, and you zero it. So that's 0. And then when you come onto the liner, you come up to the side of the liner, and then you just check, well, the liner would be a circle this other way. And so you just check that, and see that says 4.91 millimetre. No, that's not right. But anyway, it doesn't matter what. Here I'm getting all worried about bloody reading something wrong. 1.9 mil. I'm seeing the shadows. And then, so then you let it drop off and it goes back to 0. Then you check your liner at another angle and it pops up, and the idea of it is we have to check our liner height later when we fit the liners. So by making this early, we have a tool to do the job. Costs you bugger all, it's no flash tool, and when you have your liner here, and I like to check the liner in 4 places. 1, 2, 3, 4, and that's your liner there. And I take the figure from these, the 4 of them, so I add them up. So add the 4 up, then divide by 4, and that gives you the average of the whole setup to see how you're going. And we're going to put quite a bit of time in on these videos in setting the liners up and running through, you know, do we need to shim them high, do we need to shim them low, is the standard Sparex thrust washer out of the box enough, do we need to double them up? So if you get a chance, before I get to doing the liners, knock yourself up a little tool. It's a good little project. If you're half handy, it's a good project. And look, it's good not just for liners, it's good for all sorts of tools. And you know, anytime you want to come along a surface and just measure the distance, this will do it for you. So yeah, you don't have to go and buy a big flash expensive tool. Take a bit of time out and make one yourself.